Claudette Rowley is joining us as our first guest. Business Catalyst. Her new book is out. It's called Cultural Brilliance, the DNA of Organizational Excellence. And you are the CEO of Cultural Brilliance, which is a cultural design and change management firm. And over the past 20 years, you've consulted and trained and coached executives and teams at Fortune 1000 companies, small businesses, and you've been doing this for a very long time. And you have put it all out in the new book, Cultural Brilliance, the DNA of Organizational Excellence. And Claudette, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Frankie. I'm really happy to be here.
So you say, don't underestimate the power of culture. Explain to us what that statement means.
I'd be happy to. So often in organizations, whether we're talking about businesses or any other kind of organization, leaders and employees alike will not really necessarily understand the impact the culture is having on their day-to-day activities, on the results that the culture is driving in the business. And so what I think about culture as, an easy way to think about culture is to think about our families of origin. And every family has its own culture, just like every organization has its own culture. And when we're in that family culture, whether we like it or not, we typically understand how the family culture operates. And the same is true in organizations. So you're in this culture all day long, and it is absolutely driving the results you're getting. So you might as well focus on getting the results you want by creating a really great culture.
What's missing today, though? Let's talk about what's really missing, because you're saying that in the 21st century, your company's success depends on your ability to adapt to change. But how can your organization meet these changes when they don't even know what they are?
Absolutely. So that's part of what we get into, is helping organizations understand how their own culture operates. Because once they do understand, and that's one of the missing pieces, how their culture operates, then they can make some really good choices and decisions. And often what's happening is you'll see an organization start to try to solve problems in their organization, and they'll be well-intentioned, they'll be very intelligent, they'll be trying to do all the right things, but they'll be almost working against themselves because they have some cultural beliefs or behaviors that are counterproductive in the organization.
So what you're saying is that in this book, in your new book with Cultural Brilliance, you really and truly recognize the 5 warning signs that your culture needs to be fixed. So what are some of those warning signs, Claudette?
Yes, so some of the warning signs. So one is that people are punished for telling the truth. So someone comes up to someone on the leadership team and says, I'm having an experience, or I'd like to share some feedback with you, and they share their version of the truth, and they get punished for it in some way. And so if that happens, you're definitely having an issue in your culture you need to look at, because people should be able to tell their truth without retribution. Also, if you have a culture that makes people leave, that you see a steady line of people leaving your company, it's time to take a look at your culture. Also, if you tolerate bullying behavior, and by bullying behavior I mean disrespectful behavior that repeats, that's recurring behavior that makes other people really uncomfortable or humiliates them or makes it hard for them to do their jobs, and you tolerate that behavior because that person's a rainmaker or they have the biggest account or for whatever reason, you have an issue in your culture around respect and dignity and how we treat people. And then also one that I see quite often, and this is sometimes innocuous and leaders aren't aware they're doing it, is that a leadership team or a manager will say, okay, you'd like to do this project, or you're sharing this idea, can you collect some data and information for us? Which is a fine request. There's nothing wrong with that. It's that then they get the data or information and don't do anything with it. And when that happens repeatedly, we know people get frustrated and disengaged.